The Lockdown Files, Project Fear. Did Matt Hancock scare the pants off you? There's something very weird about Matt Hancock. He's always been a very strange guy, but to hear or think about him using the phrase scare the pants off someone is it's a bit unnerving. What is this all about? Was the lockdown really necessary? Do you really think it was? Most people do, apparently. Most people do. So presumably, Project Fear worked then. And Matt Hancock did scare the pants off you. And if you still think that the lockdown was necessary, or that all of it was necessary, then presumably he did scare you, or you agree with the fact that he was scaring people. Would giving the public the information not be enough? Was that why he had to, what did he say, deploy the new variant? When they discovered that there was a new variant, they were holding back this information and sort of drip feeding the public bit by bit and using it to coerce people into the right behaviour. What would have been wrong with just saying, well, there's a new variant, here it is, you need to be careful, you need to wash your hands, and all the rest of it? But even some of the measures were not based on any kind of logic. We were wearing masks in schools in England because they were doing that in Scotland. And if we didn't do it, people would be wondering why they're doing it and we're not. But isn't health meant to be catered to the individual or to the individual area? I mean, I remember at one point we were put into different zones, tiers it was, tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, supposedly based on the levels of outbreak in each locality, but God knows if that was even true. Was any of this even really based on science? I'm beginning to wonder. And I've stopped talking about this subject on my channel because you just end up with a weird Wikipedia article linked in the description, and if you're not careful, a strike for misinformation, medical misinformation. But those rules seem to have been relaxed now, and maybe it's cowardly. Maybe it's cowardly to want to keep hold of your channel that you've been working so hard on, rather than just say what you actually think. But for a long time I just sort of avoided the topic because I didn't want to get a strike, and I didn't really know the truth, and a lot of people didn't know the truth, and the politicians didn't know the truth. But what did the politicians know? What did they know, and what were they holding back when they were deploying things like the next variant? Or were they just following what they thought would look good? Was Johnson, despite the fact that he now seems to have disagreed with some of the measures, such a weaselly, weak, feeble leader that he couldn't say anything and just got pushed into going along with it? Is that what it is? What could we have done differently? Most people still think that the lockdowns were necessary. Some people will think that we didn't do enough. Some people think we didn't go in hard enough early and then we softened up too quickly, whatever that means. But for some people, this really became like a religion. And there are online groups where people are devoted to the fact that this thing is not over, and that they're still masking and still shielding and still social distancing, and people share horror stories with each other about how I was at the gym and someone without a mask sat down next to me. How has this got so ingrained in some people's brains that it's become everything that they are, that it's become their identity, and they are stuck in a rut. It's like someone with an eating disorder. They can't snap out of it. And it's kind of become intertwined with politics as well. And in America, more so than here, whether or not you wore a mask was probably indicative of whether you were Democrat or Republican. I would like to step away from all of that identity politics, all of that polarization, and just get to the truth of what actually happened and where do we go from here. I would love your thoughts on the lockdown files. Let me know in the comments.